My life changed forever that fateful Saturday in September. Cassidy Marie Stewart, this is the last straw, my father bellowed, face reddened with fury. I flinched as he slammed my latest report card onto the kitchen table. Straight C's stared back at me, a glaring reminder of my failure to meet their impossibly high standards. I cannot believe you brought this disgrace into our home, Mother hissed. After everything we've done to give you the best opportunities in life, this is how you repay us. I'm sorry, I choked out. I tried, I really did, but chemistry is so hard for me and Mr. Walters moves too fast. Enough excuses. Father cut me off harshly. Your sister Juliet is excelling in all advanced classes. Why can't you be more like her? Juliet. The perfect daughter with perfect grades and perfect looks. How I envied her effortless perfection, the pride in my parents' eyes when they looked at her. No matter how hard I tried, I could never measure up. I'm not Juliet, I retorted, anger welling up inside me. You can't expect me to be exactly like her. I'm my own person. Mother's eyes flashed with indignation. Watch your tone, young lady. You should be grateful for the privileged life we've given you. Grateful? You've controlled every aspect of my life since I was born. The clothes I wear, the friends I have, the classes I take, even my haircut has to be approved by you. I'm just your doll, a prop in your perfect family portrait. I saw the slap coming but didn't flinch, pain blooming across my cheek. How dare you speak to us with such disrespect? Father thundered. We have sacrificed everything to give you the best of everything, and this is how you repay us? I finally snapped, years of suppressed anger pouring out like lava. I never asked for any of this. The designer clothes, the fancy vacations, the country club memberships, that's what you want, not me. All I've ever wanted is your love and acceptance. But no matter what I do, it's never enough. Tears streamed down my face as I paused to catch my breath. Mother and father stared at me, stunned. I'm done. Trying to be someone I'm not, I declared. I want to live my life on my own terms, not yours. A tense silence followed before father spoke, his voice like ice. I will not tolerate this rebellious attitude under my roof. You have two choices. Conform to our rules starting today, or leave. His words sliced through me like a knife. For a moment, I considered backing down like I'd done so many times before, the thought of leaving terrifying. This was the only home I'd ever known, but the burn of indignation in my gut overpowered my fears. I knew if I stayed, I'd be trapped forever in the gilded cage they'd built around me. Drawing myself up tall, I looked my parents straight in the eye. Then I chose to leave. Shock and rage twisted their features. I turned and fled upstairs, heart pounding as I stuffed a bag with essentials. The weight of what I'd just done sank in. I was 16, alone, and about to be homeless. But for the first time, I felt free. I stumbled along the quiet suburban streets, my meager belongings weighing down my arms. The mid-morning sun beat down as I wandered aimlessly. Now that the adrenaline had worn off, the reality of my situation sunk in. I was completely alone, with no money or place to stay. Gnawing hunger and thirst quickly set in. I hadn't thought to take any food or cash when I stormed out. Spying a nearby gas station, I headed over hoping I could beg for a bottle of water. The bored cashier took one look at my disheveled state and yelled, "Hey, you can't loiter here. Buy something or scram." Dejected, I trudged back outside into the scorching heat. Where could I go? I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my contacts. Acquaintances from school crossed my mind, but I quickly dismissed the idea. Their families were friends with my parents. It was too risky. They'd send me straight back. A spark of inspiration hit. Aunt Nora, my mom's estranged sister who lived a few towns over. We weren't close. In fact, I hadn't seen her since I was a child. I just vaguely recalled Mom speaking venomously about her rebellious wild child lifestyle. But Nora was family, and right now I was desperate. I punched her number in with shaky fingers. After 2 rings, I heard a warm, gravelly voice answer. "Well, I'll be damned, little Cassidy. To what do I owe this surprise after so long?" In a rush, I spilled out my situation. Nora listened intently, making sympathetic noises. "Oh, that wretched sister of mine. I never liked her high and mighty attitude, and your daddy sounds like an even bigger piece of work. Honey, you come right over and stay with me as long as you need," she soothed. Overwhelmed with relief, I soaked up her comforting words like a balm. Nora gave me her address. She lived just on the outskirts of Hillview, the next town over. If I hurried, I could make it there before dark. The sun was setting as I finally found myself at the end of a dusty gravel road. There stood a small, run-down cottage, overgrown with weeds and vines. Wind chimes tinkled on the porch eaves as I cautiously approached. The door flew open before I could knock. Nora looked just as I remembered, a tall, curvy woman with a wild mane of red hair streaked with gray. Her bright blue eyes crinkled happily as she swept me into a warm embrace that smelled of cinnamon and patchouli. "Welcome, darling. Come in. Come in. You must be starving, poor thing. Let me heat you up some soup." I followed her inside, marveling at the cozy clutter filling the space. Souvenirs and knickknacks from faraway places covered the shelves. Bold, abstract paintings crowded the walls. Zigzagging through the rooms, I soaked up the cheerful chaos, which felt so wonderfully different than the cold minimalist decor of my parents' mansion. Nora sat me down at the kitchen table with a steaming bowl of tomato rice soup and a hunk of crusty bread. I practically inhaled it, mumbling my thanks through mouthfuls. Patting my shoulder, Nora said gently, "Eat up, love. There's plenty more where that came from. You're safe here." For the first time in forever, I felt like I could fully relax. The constant pressure to achieve perfection had vanished. Nora didn't judge me or scrutinize my every move. She had taken me in, no strings attached. That night, snuggled under a hand-sewn quilt that smelled faintly of mothballs, I fell into a deep, peaceful sleep, with Nora's promise echoing in my mind. "You're safe here." A week had passed since I arrived at Nora's cozy cottage. I relished my newfound freedom away from my parents' domineering control. Nora didn't force rigid rules or schedules on me. "You're a teenager, not a soldier. Do what makes you happy," she declared. Still, I felt guilty relying on her generosity. One morning over scrambled eggs, I said, "Nora, I've been thinking. I should really start pitching in around here. I could get a part-time job, help with bills." Nora dismissed that idea immediately. "Nonsense. You just focus on being yourself. Although," she tapped her chin thoughtfully, "if you need something productive to occupy your time, have you considered honing your creative talents?" I blinked in surprise. "You mean like art? I used to love sketching and painting when I was younger, but Mom said it was a waste of time." Nora's eyes flashed with anger. "A waste? Far from it. Art has incredible value. It's expression of the soul. Don't let her poisonous words stop you." Nora's passion stirred something in me. She was right. Deep down, I'd always felt a pull toward art that I'd suppressed to please my parents. "In fact," Nora continued, "my friend Tabitha teaches an art class at the community center nearby. I could sign you up if you're interested." The idea took root and flourished quickly. A chance to explore my creativity without judgment? It sounded too good to be true. "I'd love to try it," I said. Nora grinned and enveloped me in a perfumed hug. The next Tuesday, Nora dropped me off at the Hillview Community Center for my first art class. The studio space was brightly lit, with long wooden tables speckled with paint stains. I inhaled deeply, taking in the comforting scents of acrylic and clay. A plump woman with smudges of charcoal on her cheek approached me with a warm smile. "You must be Cassidy. I'm Tabitha." "Your aunt has told me so much about you. Let's find you an easel, shall we?" My nerves disappeared as Tabitha introduced me to fellow students. I became engrossed experimenting with watercolors, the world fading away as I gave in to the thrill of creation. At the end of class, Tabitha applauded my work. "You have real talent, an innate gift. With some nurturing, you could go far. I'd love for you to join my advanced group." Her encouragement filled me with pride. I floated out of the studio, imagination ablaze with ideas for my next class. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself wholly into developing my art. Nora cleared out her storage shed so I could use it as a personal studio. I scoured thrift shops for affordable supplies, experimenting with new mediums and techniques every chance I got. When I proudly showed Nora my finished paintings, she was effusive with praise. "These are spectacular. You have such a unique eye." She insisted on displaying my best pieces around the house. One afternoon, I returned from the market to find Nora chatting with a well-dressed stranger. "Cassidy," she called out, "come meet Thomas Green. He owns the Hillview Art Gallery uptown." My eyes went wide. Thomas gave me a polite handshake. "Your aunt was just showing me your work. You have incredible talent for someone so young. With the right mentoring, you could go quite far." I flushed crimson at his high compliment. Could I really pursue art seriously? A seed of hope embedded itself in my heart. Nora put her arm around me proudly. The whole town will soon know your name. Perhaps she was right. For the first time, I was daring to envision a future filled with possibility, with my art lighting the way. Late one night, as I was cleaning up after an intense painting session, my cell phone buzzed with an incoming call. I stared at the name flashing on screen, hesitating. It was my sister Juliet. We hadn't spoken since I left home months ago. A knot formed in my stomach. She was probably just calling on behalf of our parents. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity won out. "Hello," I answered cautiously. "Cassidy, it's me," Juliet's familiar voice responded. She sounded nervous, not her usual confident self. "What's up?" I asked coolly, bracing myself. How are you doing? "I heard you're staying with Aunt Nora now," she said. "I'm fine. Nora's great." I waited silently for whatever criticism she surely called to deliver. "Oh, well, good. Listen, I saw some of your paintings online, the ones the gallery posted. They're like really amazing." I almost dropped the phone in shock. Was perfect daughter Juliet paying me a compliment? "Really? You think so?" I stammered. "Yeah, totally. You're so talented, Cass. I'm like super jealous. I wish I could create beautiful art like you can." Now I knew the world must be ending. Juliet was jealous of me. We'd always been rivals, competing for our parents' approval. Juliet continued sincerely, "You've found something you're passionate about and you're going for it. But I feel so trapped trying to live up to Mom and Dad's expectations." Her confession stunned me. Maybe deep down we weren't so different after all. I softened my tone. "Thanks, Jules. That means a lot coming from you. But you're Little Miss Perfect. You get straight A's without even trying." "Ugh, I know," she groaned. "Being perfect looks great from the outside, but the pressure is insane. I'm exhausted from working nonstop trying to maintain this image." My heart ached in sympathy and understanding. Why do you think I finally snapped? Their expectations were suffocating. "You're so brave for standing up to them." Juliet's voice held a touch of wonder. "I could never imagine walking away. My life revolves around seeking their approval." "It wasn't easy, but Nora gave me the courage to live authentically. You deserve that freedom too, Jules." Juliet sighed heavily. "I wish I had your guts. Hey, would it be okay if I came to visit sometime? I'd love to see your studio." Warmth bloomed in my chest. "Of course, I can't wait to show you around, and maybe I could give you some art lessons." Juliet laughed, sounding lighter than I'd heard in ages. "I'd love that. I miss you, sis." "I miss you too," I said softly. For the first time in forever, it felt true. We said goodbye with a promise to reunite soon. I set down the phone in wonder, marveling at this sudden shift. Juliet and I had been rivals for so long in vying for our parents' affection. Her overtures of support opened up the chance to finally build a real sisterly bond. If bold, rebellious, I could pave my own path, find my voice. Perhaps Juliet could too. Throwing off the shackles of others' expectations is scary, but freedom awaits on the other side. I was learning to walk my own road on this unexpected journey. Now maybe I could light the way for my sister to follow, so we could both spread our wings and fly. The next few months flew by in a flurry of painting sessions, gallery showings, and visits from Juliet. My sister and I grew closer than ever as I shared my passion for art with her. I was also thrilled to be mentoring a few students myself at Tabitha's community center classes. For the first time in my life, I felt I'd found my true calling. One evening, the phone rang while Nora and I were cooking dinner together. I answered to hear Thomas Green's cheerful voice on the other end. "Cassidy, I have marvelous news. There's an upcoming show at the prestigious Burton Gallery in Los Angeles, and they are highly interested in featuring your work. This could be your big break." My mind spun as I grasped Thomas's words. The Burton Gallery showcased only the finest up-and-coming artists. If I was invited to exhibit there, my career would skyrocket. Seeing my shocked expression, Nora grabbed the phone to chat animatedly with Thomas. When she hung up, she grabbed me in an exuberant dance around the kitchen. "Oh, darling, can you believe it? Your talent is finally being recognized. We must celebrate." But my joy dimmed as reality set in. A showcase at Burton meant my work would be on display for all the LA art world to see, including my parents' elite social circles. Once word reached them, there was no way they would stay silent. When I hesitantly voiced my concerns, Nora waved them off. "Don't you worry about your parents' disapproval. This is your destiny, and no one can stand in your way." Her confidence was contagious. The thrill of this unprecedented opportunity overshadowed my doubts. I would deal with the potential fallout when the time came. Over the next month, I poured my everything into creating an impressive new collection for the Burton show. The hours flew by, absorbed in my creative zone. At last, the big day arrived. Nora and Juliet accompanied me to LA to help set up my exhibit. As we arrived at the illustrious gallery, I was awestruck by the elegant space, teeming with fashionable patrons admiring edgy artwork. My heart pounded standing before the display bearing my name. This felt like a dream. Nora hugged me tight. "Go enjoy your moment, shining star." As the evening progressed, I was overwhelmed by the glowing praise for my art. Thomas was beside himself. "The curiosity you've stirred up is incredible. Collectors are already requesting pieces." Late into the night, a reporter from the LA Times approached me for an interview. I was over the moon. As I collapsed into bed back at Nora's cottage, I rode high on a wave of artistic validation I'd never dreamed possible. But the afterglow faded quickly when reality came crashing down the next morning. Scanning the arts section of the paper, there it was. A prominent feature on me, the talented daughter of Richard and Elizabeth Stewart, who was making a name for herself in the art world. My parents' wrath would surely be swift and severe. Now that they could no longer take credit for my flourishing talent, their egos would be bruised. I braced myself for the coming storm. Sure enough, that evening I got a scathing voicemail from Mother. "How dare you pursue this childish fantasy art career behind our backs? You will rue the day you chose to embarrass us publicly. Mark my words, you ungrateful wretch." Her cruel words cut deeply, threatening to shake my newfound confidence. But I refused to let her destroy my happiness. Not this time. This was my destiny and my gift. If my success challenged my parents' egos, so be it. I was finally living as my most authentic self. No amount of bitterness could undo that freedom I'd claimed. The road ahead might be rocky, but my roots were strong now. I was resilient, a flame that could weather any storm winds that came my way. The night of my next major gallery showcase, I was a bundle of nerves. After the disastrous fallout from the last show, I knew my parents would reappear to sabotage this event. I stood anxiously in my fitted black dress and heels, greeting the steady stream of guests filing into the North Wing gallery. Juliet and Nora flanked me supportively, sensing my unease. "Don't worry, tonight is your night," Juliet said. "I won't let Mom and Dad ruin it." Before I could respond, the devil herself appeared. I froze as Mother marched up to me, flanked by my stone-faced father. Her piercing gaze raked over me with distaste. "Well, if it isn't the prodigal daughter," she said icily. "Come crawling back for money, have you?" I stood taller, refusing to cower. "I'm here for my art, not you." Father scoffed derisively. "This art nonsense won't last. Once you're through with this childish rebellion, you'll come back where you belong." Anger boiled up in me, but I held my tongue. I wouldn't sink to their level. Just then, Thomas rushed over eagerly. "Mr. and Mrs. Stewart, so delighted you could make it to see your talented daughter's work." Mother gave a brittle laugh. "Oh yes, we just had to see what all the fuss was about, though I'd hardly consider finger painting to be talent." I flushed in humiliation, but Thomas didn't back down. "I assure you, Mrs. Stewart, your daughter is exceptionally gifted. Just take a look for yourself." He steered my parents toward the displays of my nature-inspired abstract pieces. Mother wrinkled her nose in distaste as Father crossed his arms unmoved. "Amateur work at best," he declared loudly, attracting surprised looks from patrons nearby. She clearly relied on our name and resources to get this far. Fury boiled inside me. How dare they come here just to cut me down and belittle my success? Before I could lose my cool, Juliet stepped forward, eyes blazing. "You're wrong. Cassidy got here through sheer talent and hard work alone. Unlike you, she's not fake or pretentious. Her art comes from within, and you can't stand that she doesn't need you anymore." A hush fell over the hall. Mother's cheek twitched in rage at being challenged. Thomas gently took my arm. "Let your work speak for itself, Cassidy. Stay classy and rise above this pettiness." I nodded, shoulders squared proudly. I moved through the hall, chatting warmly with admirers of my pieces. My love for my craft shone through. After the show, Nora wrapped me in a fierce hug. "You were magnificent tonight. I'm so proud of you for taking the high road." As we left the gallery, I felt lighter than air. Despite my parents' cruel sabotage, the evening had been a resounding success and validation of my talent. Their bitter jealousy no longer had the power to keep me down. I had broken free and come fully into my own. My art was speaking, and the world was listening. In the weeks following the gallery showdown, I braced myself for the next phase of my parents' retaliation. But strangely, things were quiet on their end, almost too quiet. "It's the calm before the storm," Nora cautioned. "Richard and Elizabeth aren't the type to let things go." Still, I tried to focus on my art and teaching, finding comfort in the routines. Sales were steady, boosted by new clients eager to snatch up pieces by the young new talent causing such a stir. One morning, Juliet called me in tears. "Cass, it's Mom and Dad's company. It's tanking. All of Dad's biggest clients and deals are disappearing overnight. They could lose everything." I sat stunned, conflicted about how to feel. Our parents had built their elaborate wealth through Dad's lucrative finance firm. Watching it crumble should feel like justice. But compassion won out. I wouldn't wish such devastation on anyone. Over the next few weeks, things went from bad to worse. Several executives abandoned ship as rumors of shady business practices emerged. Father's country club membership got revoked due to unpaid dues. Even their upscale social circles turned their backs, suddenly remembering prior engagements when the Stewarts called. Juliet kept me posted on their downfall. "They're freaking out. Dad's drinking way more and Mom barely leaves her room. I think they're finally seeing the consequences of how awful they treated people." While part of me felt vindicated, I also couldn't help pitying them. They valued status and prestige above all else, so this public shaming was true karma in action. Maybe it would teach them humility. One evening, my cell lit up with Mother's number. I hesitated before answering. "Cassidy." Her voice was hoarse, missing its usual haughty bite. "You must have heard about what's happening here." "I have," I said neutrally, unsure where this was headed. Mother let out a shaky breath. "I just wanted to say, you were right, about everything. Your father and I heard her choke back a sob. "We've lost sight of what matters. But I see that now." My chest tightened at her raw confession. I stayed silent, letting her continue. "You only ever wanted our love, but all we did was control and criticize you." Mother was fully crying now. "And your beautiful art. We were foolish to not see your gifts sooner. I'm so sorry, Cassidy, for all the pain we caused you." I sat in stunned silence, overwhelmed by emotions. After all these years, was my stubborn, domineering mother actually apologizing? It seemed the consequences of their callousness had finally opened her eyes. Quietly, I responded, "Thank you, Mom. I appreciate you saying that. I hope you and Dad can rebuild what matters most." We said awkward goodbyes, the call leaving me pensive. Perhaps there was hope of mending fences down the road, but for now, I took comfort that their karmic downfall might set them on a better path. In the aftermath of my parents' downfall, I tried to focus on the positives unfolding in my own life. My art career was thriving as I gained recognition in elite circles. I expanded my work to include sculpture using found objects and mixed media. The hours spent crafting were therapeutic, helping me process turbulent emotions about my family. Juliet made the brave decision to move in with Nora and I, leaving behind our parents' toxic presence for good. "I need space to figure out who I am beyond their perfect daughter," she explained. I was thrilled to have my sister become a permanent part of my newfound family. We giggled over wine, swapped stories, and encouraged each other in rebuilding our relationship apart from the past. Juliet soon discovered her own passion, environmental science. "I want to make the world greener. Our parents only cared about profits, but I want to leave a positive legacy." My heart swelled with pride at her newfound purpose. We were both finding our way on paths of our own choosing, finally free. My parents maintained their distance, still grappling with the fallout of their company's ruin. I often thought of Mother's remorseful words, hoping someday we could have a relationship based on understanding. But for now, I was focused solely on my art. One afternoon, as Juliet and I lounged on the back patio sharing a pitcher of lemonade, we noticed a figure standing hesitantly at the side gate. I froze when I recognized my father's tall frame. Cautiously, he approached where we sat tense and silent. Father's eyes flickered between me and Juliet uncertainly. "Hello, girls," he greeted gruffly. "I apologize for the intrusion. I was hoping, well, that we might talk?" I studied his worn, humbled appearance. The arrogant confidence I remembered was gone, replaced by vulnerability. Juliet gave me a subtle nod and I gestured to an empty chair. Father sat down awkwardly, clasping his hands together. "I know I'm likely the last person you want to see, but I owe both of you a long overdue apology." He went on haltingly. "The way your mother and I raised you, the impossible standards, the belittling criticism, it was so wrong. We were blind to your incredible talents and spirits." I stayed quiet, letting him continue what was clearly a difficult confession. "You deserved unconditional love and support. I am so sorry for failing you both as a father. Your mother as well is deeply remorseful, though I cannot excuse her actions." He exhaled heavily and met my eyes. "Cassidy, your art is extraordinary. I hope someday I can earn your forgiveness." I saw genuine remorse in his eyes. My anger had faded, leaving room for compassion. Gently I responded, "Thank you, Dad. It will take time to rebuild trust. But Juliet and I are both finding happiness on our own terms now." Father nodded, a flicker of pride passing over his weary features. "You always were stronger than we gave you credit for. I wish you both so much joy ahead." We talked a while longer, clearing the air. When Father left, I felt lighter. There was hope for us to be a family again, wiser and closer than before. The past could finally be laid to rest. Juliet hugged me, both of us emotional. The future awaited, bright and full of promise. We were writing our own destinies now.